Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers, I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna, promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future, know you wanna. She'll never betray ya, she ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming. Yeah, baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
Question: did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday podcast. It's almost Christmas. Has everyone done all their Christmas shopping? Have we put up our trees? Have we baked mince pies? All that good stuff. But if you still haven't done all of your Christmas shopping yet, and you're thinking of getting a present for a travel-loving girl in your life, just a little bit of a plug for those of you that are new here and maybe don't know me too well yet. Your girl is an author. So that is my book, Passport Ready, The Ultimate Guide to Solo Female Travel. And if you're looking for a gift for a girl, There is, oh, I don't know if that link is going to post, but okay, that link does not work. So I'm going to, or does it work? Hang on a sec. Damn, I'm failing at my own promo. Yes, the link does work. So I'll pin it to the top of the chat. But go check out the book. I published this in September of 2020, so it's 2 years old now. The wonderful Miss Eva Zubek, who has a great YouTube channel, did the foreword for the book. And now that the world is open, I think it's the perfect gift. So go and check that out. And link is pinned to the top. Okay. But on to our royal stuff. Yay! New Netflix drop from Harry and Meghan. Oh my gosh. Our faves are not letting the haters rest. But of course, it's not about them. It's about giving us, the fans, what we want. Having said that, the haters need some oxygen too. I mean, wow. Just wow. Of all the things that we could have had before the end of the year, I wasn't expecting this. But I guess it's a nice way to end the year, right? I mean, this is going to come out on December 31st. So what an amazing way to actually end the year. What an amazing message to give at the end of the year. Live to lead. And isn't that just in line with what Harry and Meghan said in their documentary, that they are now focusing on moving forward? They don't care what's going on this island. They're going to let their lawyers handle that. And they're moving up and on with all of their projects. But I will get to that in the second half of the podcast. Let's start with all of the other things first. Right. But welcome to the chat, everyone. Thank you as always to the mods. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. We are almost at 13,000. Almost there. Almost there. We're almost there. Levy, you said I bought mince pies and I hate them. Good for you. Good for you eating those mince pies. Eat all the mince pies that you want. Right. Okay, let's start with this. So, according to Reboot Digital PR, who analysed entries on the court circular, this is how many official engagements each working member of the royal family carried out in 2022. So, let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail. Princess Anne, over 200. So she is the hardest working, and I say working with a small W. Hardest working royal with 200 plus engagements. King Charles with 181. Edward, 143. Sophie, 138. William, 126. Camilla, 102. The Duke of Gloucester, 100. Duchess of Gloucester, 92. Kate, 90. Duke of Kent, 78. Now, I do wonder, the first thing I thought when I saw this was, how many of those engagements are connected to the Jubilee, the Jujubee, or Lizzie's funeral? And also, what else did we have this year? Philip's memorial. So how many of those made up these numbers? And also, even meetings, lunches, dinners, even things that last no more than 20 or 30 minutes are counted. I think even phone calls are counted as official engagements, or Zoom calls are counted as official engagements. So if you were to actually add up in hours all of these, I'd be interested to know what that actually adds up to overall in terms of a working year. Because you look at Kate, I mean, 90 engagements is 365 days in the year. What has she been doing? And a lot of those engagements is just showing up to a school, or showing up to a farm. Remember, they went to the farm. We were petting goats. We were holding spiders, holding snakes, planting trees in the middle of a desert. And the most favorite pastime, smiling and
So we
waving.
can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time, and we really care about what's going on. So
sometimes that's more than financial.
well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So
Yeah, the odd smile here and there. The odd smile here and there counts as an engagement. So I want more of a deep dive into these numbers. Republic actually did a deep dive into William and Charles's work schedule for the year, and I did podcasts where we went through all of them. And you can see that there's huge gaps between days, and that a lot of those engagements are not very long, barely an hour long, some of them. And then, of course, you had the trips to the Caribbean. And I'd be interested to know how they actually count engagements on tours. Do they count them, does one whole day count as an engagement, or does several meetings during the day? So if we went to 3 or 4 different places in one day on a tour, does that count as 3 or 4 different engagements, or does that one day count as an engagement? Questions that need to be answered. But there you have it. And what makes me laugh about this is they wanted Meghan to be 50% of herself. So if Meghan was being 50% of herself, in comparison to Catherine here, she would have only done 45 engagements in a year. A whole joke. Right. Yes, creative life. 30% ribbon cutting, 50% hand waving, and 20% smiling. And I'm pretty sure bathroom breaks were added to the engagements as well. Shirley, what do these royals do? Nobody's seen them out and about. Save a few for Sophie and William and Kate. I think that there should be a rule that if a charity cannot prove that having a royal aligned to them help increase their income, then the charity should drop the royal. And then we'll really see how much work these royals do. Because it's the charities and the patronages that continue to give them legitimacy. And this is the lie that's always been told. Well, they go out, they do charity work to help bring attention to these charities. But we've seen how little actually having a royal patron attached to you helps, unless that royal patron is Harry or Meghan. And us as Harry and Meghan fans, those that do donate to these charities don't necessarily donate because they're royals. It's just because we love Harry and Meghan. And I remember there was that Zoom call during lockdown that Catherine did with a charity. I think it was to help alcoholism or homelessness or something. And the guy called her out on the Zoom call. He said, well, we haven't seen you for, what was it, like 8 years? And then she just kind of laughed it off. So a lot of these charities aren't even seeing the royals for years. So what's the point? So if that charity has not seen Kate in 8 years, then how can you say that having her attached to the charity has helped them in any way? And that would go the same for all the other royals and charities that they're attached to, not just her. Right. Rahini, the flop tour was seen as 3-day. We need to be evaluating the impact of the engagement. Exactly. And that's another thing. What is the impact? You can see the impact of the Together cookbook. Still, now, after all these years, you can see the impact. You can see the impact of SmartWorks collaboration with Meghan. You can see the impact of the Texas shelter that Harry and Meghan donated to. Well, Harry and Meghan fixed the roof. And then the Sussex fans went to the shelter's Amazon page and bought all of the Amazon wish list. So that is impact. Right, moving on to the next thing. Oh yes, I saw this. So the royal family Twitter page posted, with just a few days to go until Christmas, is the perfect time for festive baking. The Buckingham Palace pastry chefs have shared their gingerbread house method for you to try at home. Imagine at a time like this, rubbing it in and letting everybody know that you have pastry chefs. And the comments were brutal. People saying things like, well, the ingredients aren't at the food bank, so I can't make the gingerbread men. I can't do unnecessary cooking because I can't use extra gas in my house. Tone deafness, unreal. Also, nurses will be on strike again. They have been striking this week, and paramedics will also be striking for the first time on Wednesday. So please, nobody chop your finger off while doing any Christmas cooking or baking, please, because services are going to be stretched. And I don't blame the nurses. The UK government went from clap for carers to slap the carers in the face. You know, all of that clapping. Well, clapping doesn't pay the bills. I didn't actually take part in the whole clap for carers, to be honest, because I thought it was actually quite insulting. The people save lives. They work ridiculous shifts for pennies. They deserve more pay and better treatment, not clapping. And I say that as someone who's, you know, I have many family members who work in the NHS. So I think it's sad that it's gotten to the point where such a vital service, they feel like they have to strike. And yes, it will put patients and the public at risk, but something has to give. And this is where we are. Another interesting thing that happened today. So there is a woman called Catherine Whelan. She writes for the Wall Street Journal. Now, the Wall Street Journal is a Murdoch-owned publication. Murdoch, who also owns The Sun and the defunct News of the World. She tweeted, "My unverified theory is that William cheated on Kate with the matroness of Cholmondeley right around the time Meghan was finding success in her role. The firm fed her to the wolves to kill the story and protect their next queen from being upstaged." Hours later, not only was the tweet deleted, her whole account was deleted, and I think her Instagram is also private now. Now, mind you, any type of, you know, super injunction or gag against talking about rosebush antics of William, they don't apply in the US. In fact, I think they only apply in England. So she has every right to say what she wants to say regarding the issue without fear of legal retribution. And she also said, "My unverified theory." She never said it as fact. She's also not the first person to say it. There have been many people that have tweeted about this, and they did not have their whole Twitter pages deleted. So I'm wondering why it was that she didn't just delete the tweet. If someone from the higher up said delete it, why is her whole page gone? She hasn't been heard from since. What's going on here? Is this woman, she okay? Hashtag where is Catherine Woman? Where's she at? Where Catherine hasn't been seen or heard since she tweeted this. And it's actually quite scary because, you know, it's not like she said it as fact. And there's other people that have said it also. And while Camilla was dining with Piers Morgan and Jeremy Clarkson, well, William was at his ex's wedding. This seems to be a thing with the aristocracy. And I thought about it. Why do they do this? Because there's from the best of my knowledge, I don't know. Somebody else can speak from your culture. This isn't a normal thing that I see a lot of people do. Go to their ex's weddings consistently, and it's not just this ex. This Rose, is it Farquhar? He also, I think, went to wedding in, where was it? I think it was in Kenya, and I think he may have gone to an ex's wedding as well. And I think the reason they do it is because I think for them it's a very high society thing. Oh, I went to this person's wedding, I went to that person's wedding. But it's just the fact that William has gone, I think this may be the second or third time, to an ex's wedding and without Catherine. But I do wonder if even in Catherine's position as the wife of the future king, if these people in these aristocrat circles still look down on her even now. I don't know. But yeah, that was William at his ex's wedding. The Yes, on the Kensington Royal Twitter, William posted a congratulations to Argentina and commiserations to France. And we know because any that are directly from William are labeled with W. So he had the time to watch the World Cup and congratulate Argentina, but no time to say anything about the abuse towards his sister-in-law. Sometimes I wonder, they do know that we are watching them, right? What is going on in that? And do you remember after the Euros when the England football players were getting a lot of abuse? William put out a message saying, "Oh, racist abuse should not be tolerated, yada yada yada." But you haven't said anything about the abuse that your sister-in-law has faced. But you've got all the time to put out a whole statement about racial abuse towards England's players, but not your own family member. Interesting. Also, I didn't see this until today, but apparently Kate is now curtsying to Camilla. I didn't know that Kate had to curtsy to Camilla. But yes, this happened at the Christmas Carol concert. And somebody pulled up this article from October of this year saying Queen Camilla was reportedly behind Prince William and Kate Middleton's 2007 cup. I wonder who leaked that. Supposedly because Camilla did not think that Kate was worthy of joining the family. Because Camilla would be a good judgment on who can and can't join the family. Whatever your feelings of Kate, she was not having an affair with William. So I don't know who Camilla feels that she is to judge, but if this is true, I do wonder who leaked it. Right, with the whole... Okay, let me go to your comments before we continue. And we'll move on to the whole backlash towards Jeremy Clarkson and his non-apology. Oh, I think I just realized the link to my book isn't working. Dang. Okay, Gail Lewis, Kate is only just a Duke of Kent. Isn't he that really old dude who has trouble walking? Yes. Doesn't make Kate look good to be second to the bottom and she's the youngest working royal. Yes. It really does not make her look good at all. Hi, Joseph. You said that I hear chickens are coming home to roost. Yeah, to roost, watch Netflix and I smell gin and regret. Many real pearls are being clutched on Shutter Island, indeed. And the fact that, I mean, I'll get to it in a minute, the fact that they have, it seems through Jeremy Clarkson said, we're not sorry to me signifies that the palace is not going to back down from their attacks against Meghan. But we'll get into that in a minute. And it was 8 years since that one charity saw Kitty there and helping. Yes. And then they had to see her on a Zoom call. And Mackenzie, I agree that any women's domestic violence shelter affiliated with Camilla should demand a statement from her. They're too scared. They're way too scared. For what? I don't know. Because it's not like they're benefiting at all. Lekis, even the Queen's charities are shutting down. Due to lack of funds, some schools she was affiliated to shut down during the pandemic. It had been affiliated to the royals going back to Victorian times. I don't know specifically the one that you're talking about, Lekis, but there were 2 charities of Kate's that shut down, and one of them was, I think it was an arts and crafts club school or something. Sherry, I bought your ebook about travel 4 months ago. I'll have to give the book to my family and friends. Oh, thank you so much. Hope they enjoy it. Adrian, heads together side because of William and Kate. Well, it seems like it was really Harry who was pushing heads together. As soon as Harry's gone, it's like, where's heads together? Where is it? I think they've done like one major push with heads together. And soon after that, it came out that there was something to do with the charity and leaking information to third parties. Very strange. All right. Let's get back to the main stories. The Jeremy Clarkson saga. The backlash came hard and fast. You have Nicola Sturgeon. She outrightly condemned Jeremy Clarkson's comments. So in Jeremy Clarkson's comment, he compared Meghan to a woman called, I think it was Rose West or something. I didn't actually know who the woman was to find that she was a serial killer. You're comparing Meghan and the head of the Prime Minister of Scotland to a serial killer. Just wow. But Nicola Sturgeon also said that she pities a presenter who is distorted by hate. Indeed. I mean, he is a grown-ass man. And for you to think that, write that, say that you stay up at night, the whole thing is just disgusting. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, he was making a joke about Game of Thrones. Okay, so how does it excuse him saying that he hates her on a cellular level, that he's up at night? That is the type of language of a serial killer who is contemplating killing someone. I stay up at night grinding my teeth. Like, who does that? Who hates someone that much, who has never done anything to them? Truly vile. And then the Voice newspaper coming out and saying that the media are in denial about their treatment of Meghan and Harry and about issues of race. This is the same Voice newspaper that on its 40th anniversary decided to invite Charles to edit the paper. So, Voice newspaper, to be honest, you showed yourself. Because it's been common knowledge that Charles cut Harry and Meghan's security. Harry said that in the Oprah interview. And you still chose to have Charles edit your 40th edition. When you chose to do that as a Black-owned newspaper, for those of you that don't know, The Voice is a Black-owned newspaper. It's the most popular newspaper that centers around Black issues in the UK. When you chose to do that, you were co-signing, Charles, you were co-signing for the palace. So please don't sit here on the radio today and act brand new. Because you sided with Harry and Meghan's abusers. Sorry. Right. Mackenzie, it's ridiculous. They can't get this right. It just shows they approve, or Clarkson abomination has proof of something worse, Camilla said. Well, they all went out to lunch together, I'm sure, and he's friends with Piss Moron. He must have some gossip on the royals. Oh, warm greetings from South Africa. Warm greetings to you too. Like Saidi said, I don't know. I don't see the Prime Minister or enough people condemning it, and he still seems to have a job. He needs to be fired. I don't think he will be. He's been on this foolery for a long time. It's what his audience loves. I saw a tweet earlier today and it said, in one generation, Britain has uplifted Jeremy Clarkson, Piers Morgan, Nigel Farage. This is why I know that there are lovely, straight thinking people who are not hateful in this country, but when some of the most popular people in your country are just the most vile, who feel that they can say things like this, what Jeremy Clarkson said, freely. Unfortunately, that is a reflection on you. It is going to be a reflection on you that you allow this to fester and flourish. So it's not the whole UK is even as a Brit, I just don't think that we can say that anymore, because the whole world is seeing this, seeing what men like Jeremy Clarkson are saying. It was even on CNN. CNN did a feature on this, by the way. It made CNN. People are seeing what our media is now and what our media does. Sadly, it is going to reflect on us, whether we like it or not. Jessica, The Voice newspaper needs to just take a seat. They are useless, indeed. All right. Right. Also, an MP from the SNP, John Nicholson, wrote this. I'm going to read it out. I haven't actually read this letter in full. This is the first time I'm reading it. Let me open it on my phone because it's way too small on the screen. Okay. So it says, Dear Ms. McCall, I'm writing to you in my capacity as the SNP front bench spokesperson for media in the House of Commons, and as a member of the Digital Culture, Media and Sports Committee. I write following the deplorable comments published by Jeremy Clarkson in his column for the Sun newspaper on Friday, the 16th December 2020. Now, mind you, this guy is affiliated with SNP. I think we also have to bear in mind that anything, given that Scotland does want independence, anything that makes look bad is also good for them. Right, it continues. In his column, Mr. Clarkson wrote, Meghan, though it is okay, so he puts the passage of what Jeremy Clarkson said. As a member of parliament and a journalist by profession, I have consistently defended freedom of the press. However, this has crossed the line. Using the names of the democratically elected First Minister of Scotland and the Duchess of Sussex alongside that of a serial killer is grotesque. Expressing misogynistic fantasy that Meghan Markle might be assaulted with feces is an insight into a disturbed mind, openly expressing violent hate speech. I do not believe that Mr. Clarkson should appear on our television screens again. It should be essentially inappropriate for him to be used as a presenter by any public service broadcaster. In your ITV statement of program policy, you state ITV's purpose as a public service broadcaster is to reach and connect with millions of people and inspire positive change. It is also to reflect and shape our culture. Our programs speak to all sorts of people through a range of content, and we know that our audiences not only expect but welcome ITV using its powerful platform to make a difference in areas that really matter. In the In the same statement of program policy under ITV's social purpose heading, you state, with the massive reach of our platform, much love shows and creative talent, ITV has a unique ability to shape culture for good. In 2020, we will continue to deliver our social purpose strategy. We will have 4 priorities where we want to make a significant difference externally and internally. These are championing better mental health and physical health, fostering creativity by embracing diversity and inclusion, boosting our impact on the environment, and giving back our fundraising and volunteering programs. I do not believe that the behavior of Mr. Clarkson is in line with ITV's purpose to connect with millions of people, inspire positive change. Nor do I believe encouraging the abuse of women in the public eye enhances the culture you wish to reflect and shape. Comparing the democratically elected leader of Scotland or the only person of colour in the royal family, ooh, he went there. He went there. The only person of colour in the royal family to a renowned serial killer clearly does not help with your stated purpose of championing better mental health or embracing diversity. The very opposite is true. Public indignation at Mr. Clarkson's repulsive outburst is significant, and it is reflected in the number of complaints already made to the independent press regulator IPSO. The total number of complaints from IPSO in 2021 was over more regarding Mr. Clarkson's have been made since last week. I note that Mr. Clarkson has responded to public revulsion with a mocking tweet. It's clear no repentance is likely. So I believe there is now considerable public interest in how ITV responds. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, John Nichols. A very strongly worded letter. And I love that he still states that he has strongly defended freedom of the press. But this crossed the line. It really did cross the line. And I love that he does mention and does bring up the fact that Meghan is the only member of colour of the royal family. And this is a place where few MPs have dared to go. Right, to your comments. And this is the same ITV that had Piers Morgan saying he didn't believe Meghan's suicidal ideations in the middle of their so-called Be Kind campaign. Joseph, you said the royal apologists must think we all have amnesia. Receipts. Those annoying receipts. Yes, plenty. Plenty of receipts. No shortage of receipts. This abuse to the highest level towards Meghan, we must not keep silent till our voices are heard. Well, I think they are being heard. Because even this morning on Good Morning Britain, you had that Kevin Maguire guy and the other royal reporter guy, I forget his name, but he's usually quite nasty towards Harry and Meghan, and they're all like, oh, it's just horrible, it's deplorable. You know full well that if the majority of public opinion was still where we were a couple of years, the Meghan hate train was in full force, and you had more people clapping for Jeremy Clarkson, they would not be condemning him. They're only condemning him now because I think the Netflix documentary has really done a number on the British press and some of the mouthpieces here. Rahini, would he have spoken? Surgeon was not mentioned there, but he is right, so I'll take it. That is a good point. That is a good point. Sherry, be right back. You gonna go make some tea? Arkelian, You said by now you would think that the media and their henchmen would back off and leave Meghan and Harry alone for fear of civil lawsuit. Well, they're not backing off. I mean, where is it now? Angela Latrine, she posted this cautionary tale: if you leave your family, job, and country, take a while to learn from others. Be modest, tread carefully, and don't assume you know best. Remember, others can be much more powerful than you. Angela Latrine, of course, is a mouthpiece for Camilla because she wrote Camilla's biography. So now they're sending thinly veiled threats through mouthpieces like Angela Latrine. Remember, others can be more powerful than you. The nerve. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Much appreciated, doll. Puma Rose, they are angry that Harry and Meghan are cementing their own legacy. Yes. They have their own court, effectively. And it's a court with tens of millions from Netflix and the most gorgeous Spanish-style mansion in Montecito. Not some musty, crusty, dusty cottage in a swamp. Literally, Frogmore is called Frogmore because of the abundance of frogs and the swampy area. Please. Right, and also, because of all of this, The Sun actually took down the article and Jeremy issued a non-apology apology. So he says, sorry, it's a bit small on the screen, so let me find it on my phone. Oh dear. I'd rather put my foot in it. In a column I wrote about Meghan, I made a clumsy reference to a scene in Game of Thrones, and this has gone down badly with a great many people. I'm horrified to have caused so much hurt, and I shall be more careful in the future. Doesn't apologize to Meghan. Doesn't apologize for the fact that what he said could inspire somebody else to do something quite disgusting. I was listening to LBC this morning. There was actually a mother who rang in and said that there were schoolboys who had actually thrown feces in her daughter's hair. And she and that girl's friends had to help her wash all that shit out her hair. Humiliation for that young girl. And these are young boys, not even grown men, young boys that did that. And when I actually read what Jeremy Clarkson initially said, straight away, I actually remembered a story of a man that had actually thrown feces at a woman earlier this year. And I found that story. This is the one. A man who smeared feces in a woman's face on a subway platform in New York. Now, he was put in jail for some time, and somebody took revenge and threw boiling water in his face while in jail. But when we say that a popular man like Jeremy Clarkson, who has a huge following, could inspire someone to do something like this, to do something really, really harmful, we're not kidding around. This is the type of thing that could radicalize someone to do something quite terrible. And as I mentioned in the podcast yesterday, just this week, you had a man that was put in jail after trailing the streets, attacked almost, I think it was 4 or 5 other women before killing Miss Zara Alina. So it creates an environment that is dangerous for women and girls. And James O'Brien said, bollocks, pretty sure Rose West wasn't in the Game of Thrones, in response to his comment. And then Alec here responded with, why is he apologizing if everyone his age thinks like him? Yes. Obviously, a great number of people do not agree with his rotten teeth self. All that money and we can't get a dentist. And in regards to the complaints towards Ipso, 6,000 complaints. And I'm sorry to break it to everyone, but Ipso is completely and utterly useless. And Hacked Off, which is the organisation that has been trying to push back against the British press pretty much since the phone hacking scandal, explained why. So they posted on Twitter, "The Sun can call for a woman to be pelted with excrement and paraded naked throughout the streets without consequence, and here is why. The Sun aren't regulated. They're in an industry association called Ipso News, which handles complaints. It's almost entirely powerless and controlled by the newspapers themselves. Ipso News has never fined or investigated a newspaper ever. Ipso News uses a standard code written by newspaper editors themselves. They put lots of loopholes into the code, which is why newspapers and their websites can say almost anything about anyone and get away with it. In fact, in 8 years, Ipso News has never upheld a single complaint of racism or sexism against the press. Not one. Why do we put up with Ipso News? All parties agree that papers should be independently regulated after the Leveson report. The Leveson report was filed after the Leveson inquiry that looked into phone hacking. For those of us, our friends who don't live in the UK. But the press are powerful and pressured by the government to go back to their promises. So instead of independent Leveson-style regulation, we have Ipso News. Why do we put up... Oh, sorry. They go on to say, and who chairs Ipso News? A Conservative, now sat as a cross-bencher politician, who used to be in the very same government which broke its promise to implement independent regulation. It's just a revolving door of corruption between the organizations that should be regulating the press and the government. So as a result of Ipso News, the press is in a complaints handler controlled by a politician. The public have no protection from press abuse. And newspapers like The Sun can publish articles and call for women to be attacked in the street. If you think it's wrong, join the Hacking Inquiry and help us campaign for change. hackinginquiry.org. So I don't know if we don't actually have a body where we can make complaints in situations like this against the press, then the next call of action would be to maybe set up an independent body, or to just support like an organization like Hacked Off, get them more funding, because you essentially have a situation where the press aren't regulated and the people that are meant to be regulated, it's like the what's that saying they call it? The foxes are running the hen house. The foxes are running the hen house, and Rupert Murdoch is the fox. Also in the Sun newspaper, this popped up. So I didn't see this until today. Those crafty Sussex Squad investigators spotted this. Hot Wheels, Jesus Christ. How that model, Jesus Christ. Prince William is taking his style inspiration from petrolhead Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know who would be flattered by being compared to Jeremy Clarkson as a style, role model, but here we are. Now this, interestingly enough, was posted on the 14th of December, 2 days before Jeremy Clarkson went for lunch with Camilla and posted that article about Meghan. I'm honestly starting to believe that they were in talks with Jeremy Clarkson for a while, and they may have been grooming him to be like next Piers Morgan. I don't think it's a coincidence that 2 days before this whole thing with Jeremy Clarkson blows up, you got an article with Jeremy Clarkson being held as a style icon for William. For real? They really do believe they smell like roses. Oh, here's a picture of Charles getting a birthday cake from the sun. I'll go to your comments before we continue. Oh, thank you so much, Legs, for the super chat. You said, why is Camilla the patron of domestic abuse? Good question. She hasn't stepped up once for women, and she had 3 times in 3 weeks. It was Angela Levin, Lady Hussey, and Jeremy Clarkson. Yet she stays silent. Pathetic. Yeah, well, she was in it for the crown. She got the crown. And that's all she wants. Eljet, the book Spare is still to come. I doubt they will attend the coronation. Yeah. Because if there's anything in Spare that will cause the royals to be angry, it will be kind of awkward. Having said that, they still went to the Queen's funeral, but I think that was really for the Queen. I would be very surprised if they went to the coronation. I don't know. That's up to Harry and Meghan. It's left to be seen. Yo, Lewis, just as disgusting was what he said about Harry. I'm not surprised boys are copying by throwing pieces at a girl. This is so horrific. Yes, and also, Carolyn Flack's mum was also on LBC today. I haven't actually heard what she said, so I'm sorry I can't relay it, but I'm sure she had something to say about Jeremy Clarkson and just the whole bullying culture in the press. All three, or the impossible. What is his beauty and confidence? Have all those feeble old white men unable to sleep and just thinking about her? Indeed. I think they know deep down a woman like Meghan would never be impressed or interested in them. Girl Lewis, you said, we are observing the last gasp of patriarchy by pale, stale old men. Indeed. There's really no reason to go after her in the way that they are. It's clearly a coordinated campaign. Clearly coordinated. Linda Lala, you said, if the press wasn't concentrating on Harry and Meghan, they'd be on the government. The government doesn't want the attention. Yes, the government is loving this. PPE money scandals? Money wasted during COVID? What money wasted during COVID? Where? What are you talking about? Corruption and collusion? Please. Meghan Markle is the worst. Deborah, the squad is universal. A petition needs to be started. This is a hate crime and should be addressed publicly. How can we get this started? Do you know what I think is going to happen, Deborah? I think that the royals are now going up against each other. There's now infighting. I think that they are going to continue to brief against each other and it's going to get completely out of hand. And now that the British have become the three, I think that the British press will eventually turn on the royals. I think it's going to happen. I think this invisible contract, sooner or later, is going to get torn to pieces. And they're all just going to be crabs and rats and snakes and lizards and scorpions in a barrel going at each other. So maybe actually we don't need to do anything other than let them destroy themselves. Because they're pretty much doing that. For Jeremy Clarkson to come out with that non-apology apology, that's the royals saying, we don't care who we've offended. For Angela Latrine to come out and basically give a thinly veiled threat, that's them saying, we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to set our press hounds and our mouthpieces on you. So I think that they are going to destroy each other. And the more dire the situation becomes in the UK, well, the more people are going to turn around and go, hang on a minute. Why are we spending all this money on you? Because all you're doing with that money is paying your press mouthpieces. Cynthia, and I firmly believe that more men should speak up. Husbands, fathers, brothers, uncles. Well, do you know what? To be fair, I've been looking through social, and there have been a lot of men who have spoken up. So credit to the ones that have, and there have been many, including very prominent ones. I saw Philip Pullman tweeting about this. Sadiq Khan came out and tweeted about it. This fella from the MP from Scotland. There have been a lot. Some of your comments are some of your comments are hilarious. I just can't read them. I honestly believe, guys and girls, that they're gonna destroy us. I really do. I don't actually think that we need to do it. Other than keep awareness going. Legs, you said anyone, thank you for super chat. Anyone else think these guys are like that creepy priest in the Hunchback of Notre Dame? Meghan is the Esmeralda that they all want and will never have. I think I'm gonna have to watch Hunchback of Notre Dame back to remember what it is that you are referring to. But I'm gonna take your word for it. Yes, they're all like the creepy priest in the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh yes, Jay Patterson and Omen's book Endgame. And Omen's book. I forget that. And I am still crossing my fingers that Ronan Farrow has been working on an expose. There was a squaddy on Twitter some time ago that did a very long thread about the royals, and Ronan liked it. And I think he might have actually followed her. So I'm still crossing my fingers for Ronan Farrow, please. Because if anyone, especially an American journalist, could cause a splash and expose these people, it's going to be him. Like I believe the cost of living crisis is going to trigger riots, and Parliament and press are going to throw the palace, the royals under the bus. I think so too, because they're going to need a way to distract. And in Britain, how else can you distract? And how can you create the biggest distraction? It's got to be throwing the royals under the bus. It's got to be, because the royals are center and on top of the British society, and there's so many scandals boiling. The relationship between the palace and Parliament isn't exactly great all the time, and the British government are involved in so much corruption that I think the royals are actually the last of their worries. So yeah, if it means distracting from themselves, yeah, throw the royals under the bus. Who doesn't want, a Diana and Charles 2.0 saga? Okay. Was there any, before we go on to the main story, was there anything else I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, there was one thing. I saw this. I actually had this yesterday, but I just forgot to post it. So there was flooding in North London, literally like sewerage turning into rivers all over the streets. And this gentleman had captured some footage, and one of the editors of the Daily Express tried to contact a Mr. Jack Rem, and he said, "Good morning, Thomas. Can we use your footage? And can we find out what's going on?" And Jack Rem then responded with, "So what? So you can," sorry, he said, "so that you can find a way to blame it on Meghan Markle." Mate, everybody knows now. And he also told him to bog off. I also find it funny that the Daily Express has someone called Head of Science working at their paper. Head of Science, who is fishing around the internet for stories about flooding in London, apparently. But yeah, everybody knows now. And he told the guy, bog off. Right, let's get on to the main story of the day. A new Netflix drop. So, the documentary from Harry and Meghan, which drops on December 31st, is called Live to Lead. It was produced by Harry and Meghan, and it features Gloria Steinem, Jacinda Ardern, Greta Thunberg, and Ruth. Is it Ginsburg or Ginsburg? Sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. But Miss Ruth actually passed away this year. So, wowza that they were actually able to get her to speak for the documentary. I'm shook tough. I am completely shook tough. Even more amazing that they were able to collaborate with so many people and pull this off without a single leak. You know, all this time, think about it, everyone. All this time, they have been focusing on the Netflix reality TV show coming from Harry and Meghan. No one was thinking about this. Not a single leak. And you think of the number of people it takes to put together a production, not a single leak. This is how they're going to be moving forward. Something else that also surprised me was at the Archwell Christmas party, which would have been what, last year now. There were so many people at that party. And this was last year. Last year. And what's even more interesting is if there were job postings for Archwell, I never saw them. I never saw them in the press. So they've also been able to hire and recruit workers, executives very quietly. And we've only really known about Archwell hires when executive and high-ranking people have been hired. Amazing. And the press has known nothing. Single Royal Rota rat that knew that this was coming. Because I've heard nothing. All you've heard is about Harry and Meghan Netflix reality TV show. And it wasn't even that. So the show itself, they say, was inspired by Mandela. And I think it's just going to be one of these, feel good, people of influence and change, inspirational type of documentaries. Great way to end the year. And I'm sure we'll see a lot more of this from the couple. And great work. And what a great title too, Live to Lead. And it was just dropped. Just dropped like that from nowhere today. I'm shook. While they're all having a tantrum and gossiping at lunch with their tabloid friends, Harry and Meghan are doing this. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Rosalind, stop buying the newspapers and tabloids in the UK. Unfortunately, for people that have no lives, I guess the tabloids give them something to concentrate on and feel better about themselves. Joyce, we have heard from Ronan Farrow for a while. Or you mean we haven't heard from Ronan Farrow for a while? So maybe he's working on something. Yes, we haven't heard from him in a while. After the expose of Weinstein, he wrote a book about the whole saga, and then he also wrote another book that I actually have and I haven't even read. It was a book about democracy or something. And then, since that time, Haven't heard anything from him. So I hope if he is working on something, it is a story about the royals. We just need someone, and I do think it's going to be an American journalist, to just open the floodgates. Is it Wambui? I'm glad Clarkson's daughter called him out. Yeah, it's always hard for a child to do that, even a grown child. But I'm glad she said something. I don't think she like necessarily had to make a statement, but I think it's very noble of her that she did, because I don't really like the idea of women apologizing for men's mistakes, unless she conspired with him, of course. But I can't see that she did. And she came out and said, I don't stand for bullying or misogyny of any kind, and I thought that was very noble of her. Kate, they've been planning. Yes, they've been planning and working. Oh my God, Clarkson! Ginsburg died in 2020. Really? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Honest to God, I feel like it was only recently she passed away. Honestly, I feel like it, to me anyway, it feels a lot more recent. I'm so sorry about that. So maybe they didn't. Do you think they managed to get interviews from her from back then, or do you think it's interviews um that she had already given a while ago? Because the footage looks like in line with all of the other people in the documentary. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, creative life. She was like, yeah, I'm shook too, because I was like, wait, was this before Ruth? Yeah, they've been working. Yes, it says stay in stealth mode. Oh, thank you, Sherry Ware, for posting the link to the official trailer. Initially, when it came out on Twitter, I couldn't find the trailer on YouTube. So I thought, are they even gonna post it on YouTube after the troll attacks of the other trailers? But yeah, I love this for them. Just like, wow. Yes, Levy. Now we're really gonna see what incandescent means. I mean, isn't it mad that they're putting so much time and energy on destroying Harry and Meghan? Harry and Meghan are just continuing. It's carrying on. All right. I think that's pretty much all. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Set your calendars. I'm not going out for New Year's, so I'll definitely be watching this. Taking it easy this year because I'll be obviously flying out not too long after. Don't want to make myself tired from partying. So yeah, this will be my New Year's party, I guess. And I can't wait to see what else we have in store for 2023. I feel like 2023, the world is fully open, fully. Very, very minimal mandates now for COVID. So the world is pretty much fully open. And so sky's the limit for our faves. And I'm also interested to see in what other businesses they're going to invest in. Will they set up a VC firm? Or, I mean, they may already have one. But I want to see what else they invest in, because they've got the investments for ethics. And also Meghan's invested in Clever Blends. Will they come back on Instagram? Meghan said that she might. January 1st. Please give us that first Instagram post. Please give us that first Instagram post. The way I will follow that account so quickly. Right. We'll finish with your comments and then we'll call it a day. Please do hit that subscribe button, folks. We're almost at 13,000. Light side, Piers Morgan has his panties in a bunch over the so-called invite of Harry and Meghan to the coronation. Here's the thing, we haven't heard it from their mouths. Yes. Do you know what? When it comes to the coronation, I think I'm just not gonna talk about it anymore until the day comes. If Harry and Meghan show up, then Harry and Meghan show up. If they don't, they don't. All right. Edith, I think I will give you the last word of the day. Service is universal. Well done, Prince Harry and Princess Meghan. Indeed. Yes, Ross Farrell. Love wins. All right, everyone. Let's dance our way out. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.
What didn't you do to bury me? But you forgot that I was a seed.
Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers. I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna. Promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being old mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future. Know you wanna, she'll never betray ya. She ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming. Yeah. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being old mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being old mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.